What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is a review for Fighting With My Family. And sorry, it has been so long. I mean, you're talking 2.5, 3 weeks out now. Had to step away from the channel for a couple of weeks. I got a post that's talking about why. But coming back, got a couple of reviews that I'm doing. Alita, this one in particular, and I actually just finished Captain Marvel. So, Fighting With My Family, directed by Steve Merchant. This is a pet project from Dwayne Johnson. And, you know, it seems like he really wanted to put together a movie that showcased, A, his love for wrestling and the wrestling business, and kind of maybe show the inner workings and how real it actually is. And also telling a very cool, inspirational story about this girl who grew up in the indie circuit with a wrestling family in Norwich, England, coming to the States and literally redefining women's wrestling. I am a big fan of WWE, or at least I used to be. I used to be a huge fan. I think the product has gone very far downhill in the last decade. Having said that, Paige is definitely, I think, one of my favorite female wrestlers of that last decade. She really brought a charisma and an athleticism that I think was missing. And it started this advent of very, very talented women coming in and starting this women's revolution in wrestling. So it is kind of a cool story. Definitely something set up to be your standard inspirational sports story with a little bit of depth to it, I gotta say. So Florence Pugh, Pug, I don't know how to say her last name, but she plays Paige and does a pretty damn good job. I think there was a lot of emotional points to this movie that she had to connect with and did very well with. But I think that the actual star of this movie is Jack Lowden, who plays Zach, Paige's brother. And there are some points in this movie where this guy really has to show some real deep emotion, some pain, and I think it comes through very honestly, and just he sells very, very well. I was a huge fan of Jack. I've never seen him in anything before, and yeah, I want to check out his resume because I was impressed. I really was. Nick Frost and Lena Headey play the father and mother respectively, and they did very, very good. I think a lot of times, though, especially with Nick Frost, he was kind of a comic relief in a lot of ways. You know, this gruff guy who just has this, like, world vision that's a little bit different than what I think normal people or the average person would have. And it makes for some funny moments. It really does. And there are some things that you actually saw in the trailer where there's this other wrestler sitting next to him, and they're talking about things he will or won't do in the match, and he's like, you know, what's it feel like to, you know, take a trash can lid to the face, and he just smashes one in his face. Kind of funny. So the basic concept of this story is Zach and Paige, they get a call from WWE to try out. Paige gets through, Zach does not. You find that out in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. And so this begins quite the conflict. And I think it goes a little bit deeper than I thought it was going to, and I really appreciated that. As a wrestling fan, and as a fan of Paige in particular, there was some definite changes made to the storyline, and a couple of things I wasn't really the biggest fan of, and I understand that they have to change certain things because, you know, it's a movie and they gotta have the dramatic effect. And especially the fight with Paige and AJ Lee toward the end, they changed it up quite a bit. That, you know, it kind of took me out of it a little bit just because I'm such a fan of the original, and it was, I mean, honestly, very hard to recreate the magic of what actually happened. Because if you're a wrestling fan, AJ Lee was amazing. Like, she really was. She wasn't amazing in the ring, but she was amazing on the microphone. And Zelina Vega, who played AJ Lee, just could not capture that magic. Zelina Vega, there was just so much that she was trying to do and could not. So it's unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. The other really main character in here is Vince Vaughn, who plays one of the main trainers. And again, very, very good with the comedy. Vince Vaughn, as the trainer, he's taking a lot of low shots, and it creates a nice little back and forth with him and Florence, who, they just work very well off of each other. There were a couple of heartfelt moments that Vince had to portray, and then there was a couple of moments where it was like very serious, and like he was having a very serious discussion with Paige in a parking lot, which I'll have to talk about in the spoiler reviews, that I thought was very good. It was something that kind of hit home sometime. Well, I can't talk about it right now. I almost said too much, but in the spoiler talk, I will get a little bit deeper with that conversation. But Vince Vaughn did really good with this. He really did. Dwayne Johnson, he's in the movie a couple of times, and in those couple of times, the first time especially, hilarious. It's the typical standard Rock promo that you get from Dwayne Johnson as The Rock. He's talking about how to grab people's attention, and just funny. Like, honestly, no one can do it better than The Rock, except for maybe CM Punk. As a fan of wrestling, and I may get a lot of shit from wrestling fans, but in the whole time Rock was in wrestling, there was only been one man that made a promo where Rock did not have a comeback, and I could point it out if you want to, but it was CM Punk. Other than that, though, Dwayne is pretty much the best guy on the mic ever. And so it's kind of cool to see Dwayne Johnson playing himself, playing The Rock. It was really kind of cool to see that. Talk about a fourth wall within a fourth wall almost. So it was unique, if nothing else. Overall, I did like the movie. I think it did have the inspirational part of it, and sadly, we know how it all ended. But the movie does not go into that. It does not go into Paige's injury that ended her career. So, it was entertaining. I will say that I don't know that this movie caught me as much as I would have liked. Being a wrestling fan and, being a fan of Dwayne Johnson and seeing Lena Headey in this, Lena Headey I absolutely love. I thought I would be like super into this, and I was into it, but not nearly as much as I thought I was going to be. I think overall I have to give it a 7 out of 10. Very cool, very heartwarming. But I think 7 out of 10 is fair, honestly. I think that's pretty fair for this movie. I think they did a good job of portraying, the struggles that you have to go through. Did a good job of portraying the struggles that the family had to go through. And it pulled off some emotional, heart tug moments very well. I don't know, there was just something intangible that I just didn't connect fully with. And I honestly can't even put my finger on it. So 7 out of 10, that's where I'm going to go with it. And, it was good. It was really good. It was not great. That's my opinion on it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz, Kaged Nation, out.
Do it! Just